yoga this morning with myself, Jackie. So about 45 minutes of hatha. So I'll give you time just to set up your space, roll out your mat, perhaps a cushion or blanket or both for the relaxation at the beginning and the end, if you're feeling chilly this morning. So yeah, if you've got any injuries that you're working with or anything that doesn't feel quite right in the body, maybe stiff from doing lots of gardening or lots of running or whatever you've been doing, then please do listen to your body, because obviously I can't see you, but yeah, just come out, rest if something doesn't feel quite right. So we're going to start lying on our back, so you're welcome to come down when you're ready. Just give you few moments in case there's a few people just setting up and joining us. So I hope you're keeping well. So just lying down on your back. You can bend your legs if that's more comfortable for you. You can choose. So you can either have the knees together and the feet slightly wider, like so, or you can just elongate your legs completely into what we call corpse pose or shavasana. So let's start here today. So just turning your palms to face up if they're not already, and then just lengthen your neck. You might want to take out ponytails, maybe just pick up the head and replace it, drawing the chin slightly down in towards your chest, and just soften your belly. So we're going to take one hand, doesn't matter which, to the abdomen, to the belly, and another hand to the chest. So we're going to start with some gentle awareness of the breath this morning. So just seeing if you can feel the breath first in the body. So by having the hands on the abdomen and the chest, you might feel that subtle rise and fall. And if you can't, you might be able to direct the breath deeper down into the belly. So the yoga breath is a 3-part breath, originating from the abdomen, from the belly, and then up into the rib cage, so the side of the body, and then up into the chest, the top of the chest, where your collarbones are, the clavicular area. So see if you can feel the palms gently rise as you direct the breath down into the belly. And then that gentle deflation as the hands soften, and you draw the navel back into the spine as you let go of the entire breath. And you might like to visualize the 3 areas of the body, so the abdomen, the ribs, and the chest. Or mentally counting 3, 2, and 1. And now just switch the position of your hands. So I just want you to take them onto the sides of the ribs. And see if you can direct the breath into this area. Sometimes it can be a little bit harder to feel. So just a very gentle resting of the palms, and then just continue to breathe in that natural way. And this time you're feeling that expansion widthways, front and back and side of the body. Almost like if you had a corset on and you were releasing it just ever so slightly, loosening it. As you inhale, the palms fill up. And then as you soften, and the hands gently release. And just releasing the arms back by the side of your body with your palms facing up. Just see if you can keep that connection with the breath, the stillness through the physical body. As you direct the breath into those 3 areas of the body. So this is known as the full yogi breath, or the 3-part yogic breath. Okay, so just let the mental count go, or maybe that visualization of the 3 parts of the body. Just let the breath naturally flow. So our breath work can really help to bring us into the present moment and to also step into the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms and soothes and relieves stress and anxiety. So we're going to start with some physical movement now. So if you want to just bend the legs if they're not already, and bring the feet underneath the hips here, and then just cross one ankle over. So you're creating this figure of 4 with this leg, so encourage that knee to open, the hip to open. You can stay here if this is a strong enough stretch for you this morning. Feel free, you might feel it already in the outer glute on that leg. Otherwise, maybe threading the fingers, interlacing them behind the thigh and lifting that leg up and in towards your upper body. So if you flex the foot, you protect the knee muscles and the ligaments within the knee. And then just draw it in enough to be able to feel the stretch, but without pain. We're just going to keep the upper body relaxed here, the jaw soft, and we're going to hold this for about 30 seconds to a minute. So this is like a pigeon, a reclined pigeon, and it's more restorative. It's also more accessible for people that perhaps struggle with their knees, or maybe if you were pregnant, then you could still do this variation. Good for the sciatic nerve to release any pinching that might be happening. Okay, and then we're just going to let that leg come down to the floor, and we're just going to swap sides. So they might feel different. So just an awareness of how this side feels. Activate the foot. Relax the legs so that you can encourage the knee towards the lower part of the mat, staying or lifting up, you choose. And how does it feel on this side? So keep that breath and that awareness of breath going so that you can breathe into anything that feels perhaps a little bit stuck or a little bit tight on this hip. Feel free to ease off or to just gently draw it in a little bit more. And then we're going to release. Bring the feet into a bridge position, so you've got your feet directly underneath your knees and your hips. Taking socks off if need be to grip the mat. And you're going to just stretch the arms down, just see if you can make contact with the heels with your fingertips. This means the feet are roughly in the right position. Make sure your chin is still drawing down and your upper body's relaxed. So we're preparing to peel the upper body up towards the ceiling. So we're going to breathe in, and we're going to fire up through the legs, through the lower body, through the quads, through the glutes, and lift the hips up. Now it doesn't need to be a super high bridge for the first one. And then just gently unravel and release the vertebra down. So if you need to inch your heels a little bit closer to get more strength to lift up, then feel free. So you're just going to roll through, lift up. Squeezing the glutes can help support your back here. There's a lot of yoga readings that are controversial about whether or not the glute muscles should be activated in this pose. Very different theories on that. So, you know, when you get to the top, if you feel like it, you can then relax the glutes and see how that feels for you, whether you feel you need that extra support by engaging and supporting. Just sort of play with it. And if you want to start, you can start rolling the arms up over the head to feel like you've got a bit of an expansion through the chest and a little bit of a mobility exercise for the shoulders here. So we don't need to go at the same pace. I'm just going nice and slow this morning. So we're going to inhale, rise and open up. Maybe you want to take the arms up, maybe just one arm. Maybe you just leave the arms out this morning. And then as you exhale, if you are doing upper body, then you try and gently bring the arms back down at the same time as you bring your body, your lower body down. So let's just do a couple more of those, and then we're going to go to work through some single leg lifts, hip lifts. So when you open up through and come to your maximum height, how does the chest feel here? How do the shoulders feel? How does the breath feel? So it is a back bend. Okay, when you next reach the floor, maybe just hug your knees in over the chest and take a little bit of a release for your lower back. So it can be a static hold, it can be mobilization, just rocking, circling, anything that feels good this morning. And then we're going to bring those feet back underneath the hips, and this time we're just going to work on one leg. So we're going to I think we've done this recently. What I want you to do is lengthen the leg out in line with the knee. So rather than up to the sky, which I think we did before, the leg's going to go in line with the knee at a kind of 45-degree angle, and we're going to lift up and lower down. Lift up and lower down, and then obviously we'll do the other leg. So staying on one side to start with. So make sure that you've got your heel underneath your knee so you've got that strength. The arms can rest down by the side of the body. Take a deep breath in. Come up first of all, maybe through both feet so you feel strength and you feel rooted and grounded. And then pick one leg to lengthen out and hold it there. That's quite strong to find that strength to be able to hold it. And then let it go. So the leg is shooting out at that angle. So you're going to lift up, exhale, lower down. So this is slow, strong strength moves. The knees are not knocked together. You've got a little bit of space. Lengthen up, exhale, release. You can point the foot or you can flex the foot. So we engage the muscles in the leg that's elevated. Commit to doing one or the other. So as you rise, you're inhaling, and as you exhale, as you lower, you're exhaling. So feel the muscles having to work a little bit harder because we're just working with one leg. I'm going to do 2 more of these at your own pace. And then release. So we're going to prepare to swap. If you need a release in between, just hug them in. And just check that your knees, when you're lifting up, are not sort of shooting, knocking in or knocking out, like we call it sickling. Sickling of the knees, sickling of the foot. You want to make sure that you're keeping that alignment over the second and third toe to protect and support. So let's set up on the other side. It might feel easier, it might feel harder. So we're going to lift through both feet. So we're going to breathe in and lift up. Squeeze the glutes will help here for the strength. Now lengthen that leg out. Now how does that feel to start with? So just hold it here, static hold. Either flex the foot or point the foot away from you. The knees are roughly hip width apart. The legs on that vertical that diagonal angle. Then we're going to lower down. And then we're going to fire up through the glute of the foot that's on the floor and lengthen up on the inhale. And then gently lower down. So this is really working the muscles in the back and in particular the muscles in the glute, the butt. So you can go at your own pace here, but they're not quick movements really, because as you saw, if you hold it up, then that makes it more challenging for you. If you come to like a static hold at the top and just pause as if you were holding the breath, retaining the breath. These are great though for stabilizing and strengthening maybe your weaker side. We all have one side that's slightly more dominant. So let's do 3 more, and then we're going to roll up, start to work on the abs. So 3, nice and controlled with the breath. Inhale up, exhale, lower down. Just do 1 more if you can. Beautiful. And then just hug the knees in over the chest. Give yourself a little release. Gently move, you can even happy baby it out if you want to. Great, and then you're going to bring yourself up to seated. So any way you want, roll over to the side or roll through. But take your time, there's no rush to get up and to come up in a sort of dynamic way. So we're going to come on to the forearms now, which is more supportive, especially if there is anyone practicing that's pregnant. So you want to make sure that you're not collapsing in the upper body. So there's strength in the forearms. So this is me collapsing, this is me lifting up. So think about pushing into the forearms and lifting your chest. We're going to work the abs. So we're going to bring the knees up in line with the hip. Okay, so you're not drawing them in. And we're going to toe tap gently. So in this position, you want to really brace through the abdominals. This is like a variation of our boat pose that we normally do. So gently tapping, alternate toes down to the mat. Keep that chest lifted and keep breathing. If single is quite easy, then you could take it to double. So double toe tap, but that will put a lot more pressure on your back. So you want to really make sure your core is strong enough if you're taking it to the double. I'm going to stick with the single today. You want to be warm as well. Brilliant. So now from here, just to take a little rest if you need to, rest the feet down, hug the knees in, or sit up and fold over the legs for a moment if you want to release. We're going to take the toes to alternate corners. If you did my Pilates on Thursday, we did something a little bit similar to this, but led down. So we're going to take the toe to the opposite edge of the mat, and then we're going to paint the beautiful rainbow side to side to acknowledge the gratitude for all of our key workers. So I used to always elicit in my teachings rainbow painting, as you know, before all of this happens. So we're going to roll side to side. If you want to make that more challenging, you can lengthen the levers, lengthen the legs, but just be really mindful about how much strain is going through your back. So really strong through the core, lift the knees up. We're going opposites, so right toe to left edge of mat, left toes to right edge of mat. This is working the obliques, the muscles in the waist. Now with this move, the further away you try and take the foot, the harder you'll find it. So if you want to keep it gentle, just keep the toes quite close into the butt. If you want to make it harder, then it's as if you're trying to stretch quite far away on the mat. You'll feel the lower abs work harder with that. Okay, let's do 4 more. Great. Then we're going to do our rainbow. So reset if you need to with the pelvis and the lower back. So you want to tuck your pelvis under slightly. Lift the knees up. Remember the legs can be long or they can be bent. Or you can just lengthen one leg, which is your option here. So we're going to paint our rainbow. So we're rolling onto one butt cheek. The other butt cheek lifts. We're working into the side waist. But we're still keeping that uplift through the chest. The legs don't have to come all the way to the floor because you want to keep the tension through the abdominals. So you don't want to rest as such as we would in a twist. But you don't want to go so far that it's too much for you. So you decide the depth, the speed, the range of movement, and that is all really signalled by the breath. If you find that you're holding on to the breath, or the breath is getting really jagged or shallow, you've probably found your edge this morning. Beautiful. Let's do 2 more on each side. So 4 in total. So 2 more rainbows. We need our rainbows today. The garden needs the rain, but I'm sure you're missing the sun. So we're going to sit up, keep the knees soft, and just gently relax over the thighs, the legs. Just a very restorative forward bend. Not worrying too much about the stretch through the hamstrings here. We're just focusing on the release through the back after that core work. So we've done quite a bit of work to strengthen our core, our back and our glutes. We're now going to come up and work through some standing postures, working into the lower body again. So the strength in the inner thighs. All right, so if you want to bring yourself up to standing, again in your own way, take your time. And then you want to go lengthways on your mat, so you want to be able to hear me at least. You don't necessarily need to be able to see me. If you know the names of the poses, that will obviously help. So take the feet quite wide, I'd say at least 1 metre, or a good indication in yoga teaching is we often talk about the length of one of your legs, and obviously that's different for all of us. So the toes are going to turn out like in a sort of ballet 2 position, and we're going to work into goddess pose, okay? So our goddess pose looks a little bit like this, where your elbows are in line with your shoulders, and your knee, you sit down into the squat, but you want to think about tucking the tailbone under here and tracking the knees out so they're not stickling in. And then you can leave the upper body out. If the arms were tired today, you could just focus on the legs or keep the arms in the heart space instead. As they get tired, they will drop down, okay? So we're going to work through some breath work with this, which will probably be quite entertaining for you because I can't hear you or see you, so you can get away without doing it. But hopefully you'll join in. I don't want to look silly. And then we're going to do some balance work and some oblique work as well for a change. So I'll just show you one round of breath. So we're going to inhale up and then exhale down. So we sigh the breath out, it's like a lion's breath, we stick the tongue out, and it's a forceful exhalation of breath out of the mouth as we do it, okay? You can, if you want more, stay in the squat the whole time, okay? And just lift the arms up and down, or if you need a rest of the legs, come out of the legs, stretch up, and then sit down, all right? So think about beautiful goddesses, and I'm sure there's some men joining me, so gods as well. So let's inhale up, exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise, exhale, release. Try and soften the shoulders. Inhale, rise, exhale, release. Inhale, rise, exhale, release. One more breath. Make it your loudest, make it your most creative. Inhale, exhale, beautiful. Now, bring the hands to the hips and start to lift one of your heels. Feel the strength go right down into the sole of the foot here. And then release and swap sides. Just working into our balance here. Okay, so we'll release the legs if you need to at any point, give them a little shake out, we'll come out and then come back into the squat. Working and toning the legs, the inner thighs. So we're going to bring the arms up to the ears, nice and softly. We're going to work through the obliques. So sit down into the squat first, and then keep the body on one plane as you come over to the side, and maybe you kiss that elbow to the thigh, to the knee. Stay in the squat. So we connect with the breath. We inhale, and then we exhale as we root back to center. We inhale, and we exhale. Anytime, you can probably feel the legs on fire already, anytime you need to come up, shake out and join back in. Now when you do this, you don't want to be doing like a sort of forward fold or an alternate knee to elbow. We're keeping the body in one plane, working through the side waist. So let's sit back down and let's repeat. Then I'm going to add on a challenge for those who want it. So we come over to one side, we hold it, we come back up. We exhale or inhale, doesn't matter. Often people prefer to exhale on the effort and then inhale as you root back to center. So let's do one more each side. Think about that tailbone tucking under. Beautiful. Release. Shake out. So now if you want that challenge, we're going to try and do that with the heels lifted. Now, this is going to be quite hard, so maybe you prefer to lift the heels and hold statically without the oblique side crunch, like so. Okay, or you can go side to side. Now, I haven't practiced this, so I'm likely to wobble a lot, but I'm sure if you're wobbling with me too at home, it will be lots of fun. So let's come down into our goddess legs. Okay, think about the depth. If you can sit the butt in line with your knees, then we're working really hard here. Tailbone tucking under, body nice and tall. And then let's just come onto the balls of the feet. Now you can always do one at a time, okay? So if you're doing, I would come over to the side that's, so if your right heel's lifted only, I would oblique crunch to the left. And then when you lift your left heel, oblique crunch to the right. That's your option. So when you are trying to lift the heels, you've got to lock on through the core and the glutes to help you. So if your right heel's lifted, come over to the left, come back up, release that heel, lift the left heel, come over to the right. Maybe we all start with this option. Let's do that one more time. Right heel lifts, oblique crunch to the left, right heel drops, left heel lifts, come over to the right. Beautiful. Shake out if you need to. And then we're going to try both heels, or you can stay with a single heel lift, or you can root the feet down now if you've had enough. So squat low, lift one or both of your heels, find your center of balance, and then a gentle oblique crunch. Keep breathing. Oh, it's hard, right? If you need to release the heels down, release the heels down with me. Or leave out the side crunch. Okay, and then gently release. Legs shake out momentarily. Oh, that was really challenging for me. Right, we're going to come down and we're going to practice some animal movement stuff. Hopefully some of my guys are joining in, they love this normally. So my front row, my naughty row, I hope you're out of bed. I hope you're joining me, Chris, Sean, David. They're the naughtiest, aren't they? So we're going to squat down and we're going to do like an animal, almost like a side bear crawl, okay? But I want you to think about being really, really light in this. So we've had enough of doing our goddess pose for the minute. So one hand comes in between the knees and the other hand is outside, and you're preparing to go to the side, and you're taking the weight in the hands, okay? So it's ever so light. So just go the length of your mat while you get the idea of it. Maybe taking 2 or 3 side steps or hops. You'll feel this down into the hip flexors. Okay, all right, let's do one more lengthways on our mat. So you can step it if you want to. You can just step it out and come slightly higher in the hips if you need to. Okay, and then we're going to sit over into a crab. So sit on the butt for a minute. And you're going to lift up into a tabletop. So bringing the wrists underneath the shoulders and then feet underneath the knees. Fingers can point forwards or they can point backwards. Doesn't matter too much, whatever feels comfortable on your wrists. Gonna lift up here, breathe in, chin can tuck or head can gently go back, up to you. Focus on the height and the hips, strengthening the body. Exhale, release. So I want you to think about diagonals now. So when we lift up, you're going to try and touch the opposite foot, okay, in that tabletop position. So we lift up and we balance and we touch opposite shin. It doesn't have to be the foot. You can cheat and lift the leg up a little bit, but you're taking the weight diagonally across the core and down into the shoulders. So make sure you're working your core so you're not just hanging the weight into the shoulder. So maybe you slow it down. Maybe you speed it up. By slowing it down, it requires quite a lot of strength and balance. Speeding it up, you'll get more of a cardio heart workout, and your heartbeat will raise. So keep going, keep lifting the hips. Let's do 4 more. Make sure you're not holding on to the breath. All right, and then we're going to bring ourselves over into a bear. So the knees are going to hover off of the mat. All right, and we're going to try and bring ourselves back over. So I'll show you really slowly. So you're in this position. You just release one hand, 1 foot, and come back over into the tabletop position. Or this hand can go back into crab. So we come over and then we come over the top. Okay, so you can stick with all 4 paws on the floor if you don't want that extension into the back bend, and you can always, with the bear crawl, you can have your knees on the floor if you don't want to do the strength work, and then just bring yourself over and then lift up. So that's your option. So when you're doing this, try to go both sides. Make sure you use both sides of the body. You're not just using one arm and one leg. So come to your all fours, brace through the core, lock on, hover the knees, and then decide which way you're going. Over you go. Either all 4 paws in the crab or one arm extends back and you lift up. And then come back over, brace, and then switch sides. So we're going into a back bend from a crouched position, really. Tabletop is your back bend. So let's do just one more. So you've done 4 in total, 2 on each side. Building strength. Remember, option, bring your hands down, just lift up here. Okay, good. That should have got your heart rate going. Going to come all the way up to standing now. Once again. I'm not losing my mic. So, let's check in with our balance. So bringing the feet either into the hips or maybe together. We're going to rise onto the tiptoes. Find a focal point at home to steady your gaze on. If you wobble, don't worry. I'm quite wobbly today. Brace the core. Steady your gaze. Exhale, release. So this time, the arms are going to come up and then they're going to fly behind you, okay, like wings, with the heels lifted if you can manage it. So really engage through the core. So we inhale, we rise, and our wings might reset with the heels, the wings come back. So if you were diving, exhale, release. We'll just do one more of those, and this time if you want the add-on for challenge, just the wings come back, you can dive forwards as if you're on a diving board and come into that 90-degree shape through the body, but still on your tiptoes if you can. Otherwise, just stay with the heels down and just come into a little back bend here with me, so you don't have to do the balance, or you can hold on to something at home. So those are your choices. So let's take a deep breath in, rise, brace through the glutes and the core, settle and steady your breath, and then let your wings float back. I tend to reset at that bit, and then if you are doing imagine a diving board, the knees soften a little bit, you bend over the thighs, but you're still lifting up as high as you can onto your tiptoes. If you fall, you can always catch yourself or pop your fingertips down onto the mat. Okay, so you're kind of diving off that diving board. And then gently release, shake it through. Probably felt that in the backs of the hamstrings if you were doing the diving board analogy. So let's bring ourselves down now. So we'll come into a flow. I've left out the flow for a change today. So we inhale, rise. We exhale, bow. Bend the knees to get the hands down onto the mat. Either walk your feet back or walk your hands forwards like me if you're towards the back end of your mat. You're in a downward dog. Enjoy the opening across the shoulders. You can rest in child's or you can take a full flow. plank, lower down, knees, chest, chin, all fours if you're pregnant, cat-cow. Take a gentle back bend, release, lower, and then lifting back and sitting back into child's pose. So taking perhaps the big toes together and the knees nice and wide here, so you've got that space to fold over the legs. And just let the body rest. Find that deep connection with the breath. You're going to very slowly bring yourself up from your child's pose and come over to a seated position. So if you want to pop on any layers or have a cushion to sit on or a blanket over you, I'm going to close with a seated bit of meditation. So just find a comfortable position. You can always have the legs long if you prefer. You don't have to sit cross-legged. You want to think about the length through the spine so that the prana, the breath that we worked on at the beginning, can flow up the entire spine. So we're going to just find a comfortable seat and then close down the eyes. And just start to feel into the body. And as you did at the beginning, just start to sense your breath. Maybe you notice that your mind is still quite busy and full of thought, and that's fine. Just imagine each thought that pops in as a cloud in the sky, and just detach yourself from the thought. Just let it pass on by. Bring yourself back to the here and now. So focus on the breath. The softness of the inhale and the warmth of the exhale. Just practicing without judgment and without frustration. Just be gentle and patient with yourself. So as we start to bring the body to stillness, then we're able to see and observe how busy or not the mind is. And knowing that we are not our thoughts and that everything changes. As the famous Buddha quote. So just detach yourself, as I say, let it go. Bring yourself back to breath. That beautiful one-pointedness of mind as we really rest our observation, our attention on our breath. And just taking the hands over the heart space this morning, still connecting with the breath. So there's a famous yoga saying that when the breath is unsteady or jagged, so too is the mind. And when the breath is still, so too is the mind. So at these anxious and unsettling and unknown times for all of us, it's the breathing, the meditation, the relaxation are equally as important as the physical movement. So just taking the hands together, either bowing the forehead to the fingertips or to the floor, in honour of your practice, the lineage of teachers that have brought us this tradition of yoga. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, yogis and yoginis. I miss all of you, not just the naughty ones at the front, and I hope that if you didn't join me at 9:15, that you're able to perhaps join in at our usual time or later on in the day and have a go at it. So have a look out on the workout site, because I understand that as of next week, Craig is looking at putting on 2 classes a day for you. So I'm sure there'll be more yoga and Pilates, but there's also other classes mentioned on there, new classes too, like combat, attack and jam, and boot camp will continue and cardio combat will continue. So it's really exciting. So stay with us, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.